Hey, welcome to Coffee Meets Cream. This is our first video, so we'll be introducing ourselves. I think you can tell who's the coffee and then who's the cream. And we're out on our regular routine, walking the dog kind of thing in the morning, and we figured we'd shoot our first video here.
Yeah, so we thought we'd talk about how we first met and, you know, give you guys a little glimpse of our little love story, if you will.
Right.
So we met on a dating site, and we had both been on the site for a few months at this time, like going on dates and stuff like that. And I had actually like gone on and then got off and then came back to the site. And I'm pretty sure that I liked Will first because when he first saw me, he swiped right on me. Like, was like, nope.
Left. Swipe left.
Yeah, he swiped left on me. And I was like,
an accident.
what?
It was an accident. It's like one of those things when you're bored at night in bed and if you're on dating websites, you know exactly what's going on. You just keep like swiping left, going nope, 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 nope. And I accidentally swiped left on hers. I'm all nope, no! I was so butthurt. But 2 weeks later, I was on the toilet and, you know, buying myself some time, and she popped up again, so I swiped right on her while, you know, doing my thing in the bathroom. That's a true story.
Romantic.
Hey, man, it's the best time to do research.
When I found this, I was like, oh, you know, what every girl's dream. So we talked on the site for probably about like a week or so, like texting back and forth, and like what stood out the most about Will was that he was super responsive. Like, I mean, this was like a few years ago, and so I was like, you know, would take a little time to respond back to him. Like, I didn't want to be too eager, but I would take like an hour or two, and he would respond like within 5 minutes.
I'm not messing around, man. You know, I work in trauma, so my phone's on me 24/7, and so I kind of figured, like, I'm getting older, I'm not messing around, I'm not trying to play any games. Just gonna direct, you know, just DMs all day, and try to get a phone call in there before we meet, and just to get a few checks off the boxes, you know what I mean, before I start playing around. I'm not trying to waste any time.
Yeah, to me that was extremely impressive, as like, this is my kind of guy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, don't mess around, get straight to it. I like it. So, like you said, he wanted to talk on the phone before we met up, which is smart. Like, you know, get an idea of like what we're both about and talk to each other for a little bit to even see if we wanted to continue on to our date.
Yeah.
So we got on the phone. I was extremely nervous. I don't know about you. How did you feel?
I wasn't nervous. I just had a few questions I had to ask, and then I'll pursue. You know, at that point, I was like, I was almost getting close to being jaded in terms of dating. You know, so it's kind of like, let's just, you know, get the checks off the boxes done. Like, hey, are you Christian? I don't know what other questions were important. Like, I don't know.
Like, what do you like to do for fun? Like,
yeah.
We're in Southern California, so I feel like number 2 was, do you like the beach?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that was another thing too. If she doesn't like the beach. Oh, it was, that was later. I'll tell you that later.
Yeah.
My 3 rules.
Yeah, so we talked on the phone, and he had a great voice. I was like, all right, we can do this. And we planned for a date that Friday.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that, like you said, he works in trauma, so he had tried to go on dates before and had to cancel like
6 times at one point.
Yeah, 6 first dates. And lucky me, on our first date, he was available. Like, didn't have to work that night. Like,
yeah.
All the things like fell into place. Sorry if you can hear the train. Everything fell into place, and it was just perfect. So he came to me because I was in Northern Orange County and he lived in Southern Orange County at the time. So he drove up to Northern Orange County, and we met at the Rock and Lobster in Newport Beach. And it's nice because in that area there's a lot of, you know, places that we could go to on our date, like kind of walk around. Like when I was in college, that was like my stomping grounds where I hung out. And so we went to the Rock and Lobster, I did not feel well.
Yeah, she said that she was sick on her first date. In the back of my mind, I'm like, dude, this chick, dude, like, she's totally putting on a front. She's gonna leave as soon as she's done eating. You know, she's not into this, she's not into me, whatever, you know, I'll just call it a day, give her dinner, send her on her way, you know, pretty much. And
Wow.
so we're talking back and forth. I'm like, dude, I thought she was lying.
He
You know,
orders a margarita, I ordered tea.
yeah, you know, you're just trying to get a little, you know, something warm going on, get the conversation flowing and stuff, and that was that. But turns out that she actually was kind of ill.
Yeah.
And
I persisted.
yeah, and the date, I made it a 2-part date, so like she had an out if she wanted to after dinner.
Well, he had it out too.
Yeah, it's a win-win for both parties. If you do a 2-part, like a word of advice to anyone who's dating, make it a 2-parter. That way, if you're not really feeling each other, you guys have an out. You know, you have lunch or coffee, whatever the first part is, and then if it's not really flowing, you know, you peace out. And you let them know in the beginning, hey, it's a 2-parter, you know, and if you're not into me, you can split from there. It's just, you know, dead honest.
Yeah.
It might be uncomfortable at first to say that, but, you know.
I know, I thought it was a little weird, but after I sat with it for a little bit.
Smart.
Yeah, very
That's what I
smart.
did. Yeah, and so the second part would be to go over, walk on the pier and see if it was still vibing or not.
That would be like the time when we asked, so like, do you want to continue? Like, are you feeling
Right,
this?
just to see if the conversation was gonna go anywhere, you know. And the conversation went just enough. I felt like she wasn't really talking that much, you know, and according to her, she was like what, nervous.
He made me nervous. Like when I first saw him, I was like, like so much hotter in person than he was in his photos on the dating site. I would say that a lot of guys aren't the best at taking photos when it comes to dating sites. I know this is like the new age thing. I mean, obviously he was cute enough for me to swipe right on him, but when I saw him in person, I was like, oh God.
I don't know. Hey, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? I guess. I'll take it.
So I was a little nervous, and I'm an
Yeah.
introvert. I'm naturally more quiet, so
Yeah.
it was a struggle for me. I'll say that.
Yeah. And then the second part, I'm like, hey, you want to go in the second part? And she said, yeah. Second part would be over at this kind of like a bar,
Yeah.
I guess a bar kind of little concert scene, and it was a surgeon that I work with, and it was Halloween weekend. And so the surgeon has his 80s rock band, so he's like got the eyeliner and fake tattoos and long wig,
blonde
you know.
wig
So I'm like, hey, this
with
is
the headband.
my surgeon, Dr. Blah blah blah. And she's like, what's going on? You know, he's in full Halloween garb, you know, and because we're always thinking of surgeons being a certain way, you know, prestigious.
Was
and
not
all that.
expecting
Yeah,
that
no,
at
this
all.
guy's like totally cool. He's like, want another beer? You know, he's an awesome surgeon too. So we were there for a while. I convinced her that to take a tequila shot. So I told her if you're really sick, you should take a shot of tequila because it actually helps your immune system, which it really does. Look it up.
I thought it was BS.
It's like the best.
At the time though, I still took it.
She
like
did take
even
it,
though
yeah.
I thought it was BS, I was like, okay, like I might feel worse tomorrow, but I need to at least loosen up and like
Yeah, so she had a shot and a
for
beer,
this date.
and we started shooting the breeze. And the whole time, still, like I'm not getting much out of her. I'm like, man, this kind of sucks. You know, I'm like doing the majority of the talking. She's kind of like answering back, like
I'm like laughing
small.
cute, like
Yeah, you know, and I didn't think the date was really going anywhere, and so we were just kind of like looking at each other. I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, is this going okay? I'm like, I guess it's okay.
But to my defense, like there was a baseball game, like World Series.
That's true. Yeah, it was the record. I think it was a record-setting 18 innings against the Dodgers and Red Sox
This
that
was
night.
like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So if you guys know of that game.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot going on in the bar. Like people next to us were just talking to us. Like everyone was excited. It was a great mood. It's kind of loud, and I'm not the loudest talker, so
That's true.
it's a struggle for me to try to have to compete with all the other voices in a room. So I was like, well,
Yeah, it's just like the loudest
I'll
I've
take
heard her
it
talk,
easy.
like ever. Because she's on the vid. And then so I caught her staring at my lips mid-conversation, right? And I caught her doing it a few times. So I'm thinking back in my mind, you know, I'm old enough to recognize the signs. I'm like, okay, maybe this is going better than I think. You know, and she did mention that she is introverted, so maybe this is her being extroverted, and me being extremely extroverted, maybe it might be like toned down in my eyes, you know, even though she might be like full throttle in hers, you know. So we left, went out the parking lot, we did the parking lot hug, you know, and then when we hugged, she got a little closer, so I was like, oh, okay, this is going somewhere. You know, and then we ended up kissing on the first date, and then the rest was history. Like, she met my my friends like almost that next weekend at one of our beach deals over at Sano.
But first, like, we had our first date on a Friday, and then that Saturday was his church's trunk or treat.
I think it was one of the trunk or treat kind of deals.
Yeah, and so he was helping out, so I'm there early with him. The second date of like seeing each other in person and like knowing each other, I'm there with him helping out with the kids, but he was moving in so many different directions and so helpful, which is another thing I love about him. And I was kind of there like, so I found my little peaceful corner with some kids at one of the jumpy things. And should I say this? What the girl.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, do that.
So our second date of knowing each other, he lives in Southern Orange County, and to be honest, there just isn't a lot of diversity there, and especially at his church, there just weren't many people that look like me.
There's like maybe
be honest.
Maybe like 2 or 3 others.
Out of like hundreds of people that go to this church.
Pretty much.
And so obviously everyone's nice, like the love of God. I felt really like welcome there. But this little girl that I was hanging out with, because I was like, I love kids, so I was like, well, I'll just go hang out with the kids. They're the easiest people to have a conversation with. So I went over there, and this little girl was like jumping on the little jumper, and she's like, so what's your favorite holiday? And I was thinking, I was like, oh man, like that's a good question. And she's like, but you can't say Martin Luther King Day. And I was like,
it's this little white girl, you know, so she just immediately thinks that
that's gonna be my favorite holiday, and she did not want that answer. Like, I needed to come up with a better one.
Just complete innocence of a young white girl.
But she was super cute, and it was a fun story for us to tell. And I think the next weekend, like you said, I met all his friends, got grilled a little bit.
Yeah, she slid right in, man.
Passed the test, we did a beach day, of course. We're at the beach now. You can't hear the waves crashing.
You might, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
maybe not. But yeah, it was perfect, and I think within 2 weeks we were official.
Yeah, that was it. Well, that's how we met.
Yeah, the lover story, and it continues. So we're married now. You'll hear more about that. So obviously it's going well, but
yeah, we'll talk about our COVID wedding in the next video.
Yeah. See you guys next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Later, guys.